I gotta mute my phone. Okay. 4:15. Welcome to the Waldport City Council meeting. Thank you everyone for being here and squeezing in so as many people could come in from the hallway as possible. Thank you for standing out there. Just for safety precautions, I want everyone to know that there is an emergency exit there that you can leave out of. It will not sound an alarm. There's also an emergency exit behind me and then the entrance that we all came in through. There's bathrooms in the hallway, and if you guys would please turn off your ringers off your phone, I really appreciate that. Megan, can we do roll call? Mayor Lambert? Here.
Here. Here.
Here. Here. Here. Excellent. With the importance of tonight and the subjects being spoken, I'm asking that we change the agenda, if that's okay with everyone. Manager's request. I'm asking that we go from here straight to a short statement by Dan Cutter and skip agenda items, go straight into public comment. Let people go ahead who come to voice their concerns speak, and then have our discussion item and go right into number A, information regarding the rumored immigration and custom enforcement housing and resolution. And then go into council comments and concerns. And because of the expected length of the meeting, I'm also asking that we table the other two things. Anyone want to second my motion?
Second. Will we still do the consent agenda after?
No, that could be tabled to the next meeting. So we're just dealing with the ICE topic tonight. And then we have a second from Mr. Councilor. All in favor? Aye. Aye. And all not in favor? Sorry, Woodruff, Councilor Dunn?
I guess I'm going to vote no, just because I think I'd rather see what time it goes down.
Okay. All right. The motion passed. 4 councilors, 5 of us saying yes. And I do not have done the yes or no. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Madam Mayor, can you guys speak up?
Yes, I'm sorry about that. We will try to speak very loud because I know I'm having a hard time hearing myself from up front. So we just changed the agenda. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a short statement by the city manager. Then we're going to go into public comment. We're going to have a discussion with action items. There's a resolution mentioned. And then we're going to go into council comments and concerns. And then the meeting will be adjourned. So to start, manager, will you please give your...
Yeah, I just want to provide a quick update. I'm going to stand up because I know there's a lot of you. I wanted to provide a quick update in the timeline of what's going on here so that you understand the full transparency of what the city has done. On Friday, late Friday, we got a rumor basically sent to us that that the Immigration and Custom Enforcement Agency had reached out and that a contract had been signed with the Alsi Hotel and Resort across the bay. We then made many phone calls. Again, late Friday, very few people answered their phones. We followed up over the weekend and made the agenda item that you see here today and started putting information for everybody together. On Monday morning, I spoke directly with one of the co-owners of the hotel chain, and she confirmed that no contract had been signed. I then spoke to the federal contracting group that was responsible for reaching out to all of the different entities to try to provide these type of services to these groups. And they said no contract in Waldport has been signed. There's no agreement in Waldport. And that is the latest information that we've received publicly. We felt that based on some other information we've gotten about the condition of their water and septic system, that this was likely not something that we had heard. Today, I got a very different piece of information. This is what I want to share with you. I spoke with the sales representative of the hotel. The hotel's been on the market for a while, and he was speaking with the primary owner, Mr. Massimo Soro. ICE has absolutely reached out to, he has not made a decision, but they have offered him a contract for a bank of rooms for a period of time. Now that we have confirmation of that, I think that informs a lot of what we're doing here today and what this council will be talking about. I had a lengthy conversation with the parties involved and explained the significant public outpouring. Maybe you can show the folder of letters that we've received. We had an at-length conversation about that, and I will say I personally urge Mr. Mansaro to reject this contract. At the time, I just checked my email right before we went into session. I have not received any communication affirming or denying. What I will say is he wanted to pass along this. He is in his 80s. This hotel he purchased years ago has been losing him money regularly. He feels that he is very much behind the 8 ball, and he is very much struggling with the community challenges that he's experienced over in the other side of the city, over there in Bayshore. He had thought he had had a sale that would have gotten him out from under this money-losing proposition a few years back. The HOA kind of got in the way of that. And I'm not saying whether they were right or wrong. I'm saying that this is where his mind frame is right now. And so I spent a good deal of time explaining to him the significant damage he would be doing to the community and the significant public interest in not having this happen. So he's well aware of that. And I am hoping that he makes a choice that will make a lot of this not critical. But I just want to let you know, these are the conversations that we've had up to now. And going forward, we will keep you apprised of any developments on our website and on our social media. But that's what we know right now to be true, and the actual conversations and who we've had them with, so that everyone understands that we're trying to be fully transparent about what we know right now. Thank you.
Okay, next is public comment. So this is the only time that you have to speak out of turn is if you are on the list for public comment. You are more than welcome to put yourself on the list to do public comment, but please reserve your comments for when you're making a public comment. You have 3 minutes, and we're going to start with Representative Gomberg.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. For your record, I'm David Gomberg, State Representative, and I appreciate the courtesy of you calling on me early. I need to be in Newport at 5 o'clock. I had to scramble my schedule this afternoon, but I heard something was going on here and wanted to drop by. This community is rightfully concerned about the evolving evidence that ICE wants to use this town as a bedroom for a large-scale detention facility just south of Newport at their airport. And I am here to urge you, as I understand you're already doing, is to constructively discourage that from happening here. Now, that being said, let's be clear that something's going on. I mean, the evidence is elusive, but it continues to arrive to us, that jobs are being posted, that hotel space is being requested, that small businesses are being asked to deliver water or haul away thousands of gallons of human waste every day. And state agencies have now been contacted to ask about the process for escaping our state land use process and our local zoning. And earlier today, a story came out in Washington, D.C., that apparently a group of contractors actually met at the airport earlier this year, and they were informed that ICE is prepared to waive a number of their own requirements to fast-track a process here in Lincoln County, that they are going to rely not on their normal bidding process, but run it through the United States Navy so that they don't have to engage in competitive bidding or public disclosure. and that their plans are to house 200 or more people in tents at the Newport Airport for an average of 72 hours before they put them on planes and send them God knows where. This is not going to be a good thing for Lincoln County. It's not going to be a good thing for Waldport. And I hope and I know that as you consider this, that you'll consider the effect that it would have here in Waldport on your local economy, your tourist economy. What effect might it have on your workforce? What effect might it have on your public safety budget as you're forced to respond to the inevitable protests that would evolve with an increased ICE presence here? And what effect might it have on your revenues? Because remember that transient lodging taxes apply to transients and not people that are here for more than 30 days. This is not a good thing for Lincoln County. It's not a good thing for Waldport. I have consistently said that I am concerned, first of all, that DHS seems more concerned with detaining lives than they are with saving lives through our helicopter rescue operation. And I'm particularly disappointed that they've been unwilling to do this in an open, honest, and transparent way. And that instead we've been forced to ferret out the information of what's going on in our very own communities. We deserve the right, the opportunity to chart our own destiny, make decisions, engage in conversations about what's going to happen here. I would urge this council to take a strong position, as Newport recently did, in responding to the potential for an ICE facility here on the coast and the effect that it would have on this wonderful community. Thank you for sharing a few minutes with me tonight.
The next speaker is Amy Anderson.
Sorry.
Next time.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, councilors, and neighbors. My name is Amy Anderson. I'm speaking on behalf of Indivisible Waves as a Waldport business owner and as a local community member. We all want Waldport to remain a safe, welcoming place to live, work, and visit. And tonight I'm asking you to use the authority that you already have, our zoning laws, to prevent ICE operations or personnel housing in Waldport. There's been a lot of fear about what might happen at the Alsi Resort, but the truth is simple: you already have the power to stop it. Not through politics, but through zoning enforcement, which is clear, nonpartisan, and fully within your legal authority. The Alsi is zoned C1, general commercial. C1 allows hotels and short-term lodging. It does not allow institutional housing, government operational use, detention-related staging, or long-term block housing under federal supervision. If ICE uses the hotel as a base of operation or houses personnel for extended stays, that is not hotel use. It becomes institutional or government use, which C1 does not permit. Change that use, ICE or the property owner would need a conditional use permit requiring planning commission approval, city council approval, public notice and hearings, and proof of adequate emergency services and compliance with hazard zones. And the Alsi cannot meet those requirements. It sits in a flood zone, a tsunami zone, and a coastal evacuation corridor. Waldport has no police department and only 1.5 deputies shared with Yachats and the rest of Lincoln County. They can ship them wherever they want. Zoning law requires adequate emergency support for higher intensity or institutional use, and we do not have it. So while national politics may feel overwhelming, this is actually a local land use decision. You have both the authority and the responsibility to enforce Waldport's zoning code. There are real consequences beyond zoning. Tourism is our economic backbone. ICE operations, even temporary, carry a stigma that drives visitors away and harms local businesses. Any short-term gain from the hotel bookings would be outweighed by long-term loss in tourism and reputation. And for our immigrant neighbors, many of whom have lived and worked here for decades, ICE's presence creates fear that affects workplaces, schools, and public safety. And that fear ripples through our entire community. In preparation for tonight, I put together a packet for you that includes case studies and news reports showing how federal detention activity has harmed rural towns across the country. It also includes a clear summary of how the Alsi is violating C1 zoning, what the legal process for any rezoning or conditional use permit would require, and why granting such a permit for ICE would be unethical, illegal, and harmful to Waldport. I hope you will review it carefully as you consider the city's obligations. But the key point tonight is you can act, you can uphold Waldport C1 zoning, you can require compliance with land use law, and you can make clear that ICE operations are not a permitted use of the Alsi and will not be allowed without a full formal land use review the site cannot meet. This is not politics, this is governance. This is your responsibility and your legal authority, and this is your opportunity to protect Waldport. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Barrett.
My name is Robert Barrett. I'm pastor at Yachats Community Presbyterian Church in Yachats. Good evening, counselors. I'm speaking tonight because the now confirmed rumors circulating about ICE negotiating with a local hotel to house agents for a proposed staffing center are deeply troubling, not just because of the rumor itself, but because of the city's stated neutrality. Neutrality in situations like this is never actually neutral. It becomes a position that allows the expansion of an enforcement system that has already harmed families, traumatized children, and targeted some of the most vulnerable people in our region. It is interesting that cities like Yachats and Newport have found ways to say ICE is not welcome here. A decision like this wouldn't only affect our vulnerable neighbors, it would shape how people see our county, how people see Waldport. Tourism is the backbone of our local economy, and visitors who come here precisely because this place feels safe, welcoming, and grounded in a peaceful coastal identity. The presence of an ICE operation or even housing of enforcement teams changes that atmosphere. It conveys a message of surveillance, instability, and conflict. People choose coastal communities for rest and renewal. They will choose to go elsewhere if the environment feels tense or militarized. Protecting the dignity of our residents goes hand in hand with protecting the economic health of our region. When a community like ours stays silent, it clears the path for other decisions to be made without us, and often against the values we say we hold. Even if the city of Waldport cannot legally prohibit ICE from operating within city limits, leadership still matters. A clear statement from the council that this presence is not in the best interest of the community would carry real weight. So would a commitment to do everything legally within the city's authority to prevent a detention footprint from taking hold here. Silence can be interpreted as consent. Clarity tells the community where its leaders stand and signals that the well-being of residents, especially those most vulnerable, remains the city's priority. Waldport is part of a small coastal community that prides itself on hospitality, dignity, and care for neighbors. An ICE presence, whether temporary or permanent, cuts against that identity. It injects fear into immigrant communities, invites a militarized footprint into our civic life, and shifts our shared sense of safety towards surveillance rather than belonging. I'm asking the council not to stay on the sidelines. At the very least, we deserve transparency about what conversations the city is aware of, a clear public statement about whether having ICE agents here in Waldport is compatible with the community's values, and a commitment to protect immigrant residents and workers who call this place home. Each of you were elected to lead. South Lincoln needs that leadership now.
Willa Kaiser?
Hi. Let's see. Well, first three comments, those first three comments were all amazing, and I'd like them to go right at the very top of my comment as well. My name is Willa, and I'm a fifth generation Waldport area resident, and I love this place with all my heart. The DHS's intent to have an ICE detention center at the Newport Airport is real and in fast motion as we speak. Newport, the county, and the state are all extremely opposed to this happening here for many reasons, which I'm sure you all know by now. It is crucial that Waldport is united with the rest of our coastal communities in refusing services, allocations, or support to the advancement of this facility. The tighter we stand united in this opposition will make it less appealing and harder for our airport to be used as a detention and human shipping center. It's important to remember that this is not regular immigration control. These are not normal circumstances and certainly not normal times. Know that an overcrowded, unsafe, cold and damp, inhumane detention center at the airport holds the strong possibility of disrupting and destroying far more than we could ever imagine for life here on the coast and everywhere. Let's remember that this is not a left versus right thing. This is a bottom versus top thing, and we are all at the bottom together. Let's stand united and refuse to fall for the divide and conquer tactics that play with the corporate and national levels. The Waldport City government and council must support its constituents in our communities and do everything within their power to not permit or allow long-term federal agent housing or anything else that comes up similar in the future. We urge you to deny any special use of permits to Alsi or anyone else relating to ICE housing or anything similar now or in the future. We implore you to be very vigilant and in constant communication with the rest of our local governments on these issues, as it is moving along very quietly and very quickly. There is no time for silence or neutrality with something as serious and negatively impactful as this. We need the City of Waldport to publicly take a strong stance in opposition to an ICE facility on our coast, and to stand with the rest of our coastal neighbors on this, prioritizing our health, safety, and families over these fear tactics and intimidation. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I know this is a new to everybody and hard situation to deal with and to have come up. So let's all work together and please reach out to the community, reach out to us, because there's a lot of people out here who know and have a lot more information than the next person does. And if we put it all together in open communication, then we can really come up with solutions. Multiple heads together to come up with so many more things. So I've learned a lot already today, tons, and thank you for your statement and update. And I just really want to say that in this time, in this world, we have to stand together. That's where our power stands. Like in the movie The Bug's Life. Millions and millions of ants get together, and we do have some sort of a hive mind out there, probably we shouldn't tap into it. We get together, we can defeat the cockroaches. And at this time, that's what has to happen, guys. No matter what you believe, if you're left or right or whatever, we have to stand together, and that's more important. We've done for generations out here. We barn raising parties for each other where I'm from. Like we've done it for generations and generations and generations out here and all over. Besides the awful things we've also done at the race, but also the fantastic, beautiful stuff and the working hard together despite our differences. And gather those things. We all have way more in common with each other than any of us do with a billionaire.
The next is Joe Sewall. Sorry about your.
Hi, I'm Joe Sewell. I'm a lifelong resident of the Waldport area, and I'm just here to voice my vehement opposition to any form of support for ICE in this community. And there are a couple of specific points I want to make. First, I just want to point out that this is really an attack on all of us. In a time when unidentified, masked secret police can whisk a person away to anywhere on earth without transparency, due process, or consequences based solely on an accusation, none of us are safe. If you think you won't be affected, consider that the relocation of the rescue helicopter was not just a separate issue, it was a statement of values. This government does not care how much collateral damage they inflict in the persecution of their intended victims. There will be more collateral damage. They will, of course, primarily target our Latino community members. I could extol the many benefits these people bring to our local economy, as many rightly have, but to me, they are my friends and neighbors, and that is enough. They deserve safety and dignity, not state terror or prolonged debate over their worthiness to exist here in peace. Second, I just want to express my hope that my fellow local business owners understand how not only immoral but unwise it will be to attempt to profit by collaborating with ICE. In doing so, you should expect a prolonged and uncomfortable public spotlight. I implore everyone, especially local officials and business leaders, to resist this profoundly un-American attack on our community in every way you can. Thank you.
Jeffrey Austin, or maybe Justin.
Please try to get everybody to.
Okay. I had no idea what I was going to say. I had no idea what I was going to say until everything had already been said. We have unity. That's what we have to stand in. We have to stand with communication. We can't sit down and say one person is more important than another person. In no way should anything that we're doing be hidden. We need to stand and we need to shout it from the rooftop. I want to say personally, I have experienced what it is to be in a police sweep. And it's not something pretty. It's ugly. People get beaten down. People have their identity cards torn up. It's an ugly thing. We have to stand together because they can't walk through all of us to get at the most beautiful members and citizens in our community. Our Hispanic brothers and sisters have expressed a beautiful culture to us for decades. It's time for us to stand with them and for them. I also just want to add that everything going on in each aspect of what ICE is doing is coordinated. That's going to call upon us to stand in courage at the moment that we're called on spiritually. I would say for myself and for all of us, let's pray, let's love one another. Let's not judge by the appearance of what people look like or who their history is. Let our yes be yes. Let our no be no. And let's move forward because it appears that it is apparent what is happening.
Janet Sarver. Ms. Sarver. Maybe Miss doing. Oh.
We turn this that way.
If you feel more comfortable.
Well, no, just because I don't talk that loud. And I don't know if people will hear me. Is that okay? Because I do need to put this somewhere. Okay. Well, I can just stand it halfway. Good afternoon. My name is Janet Sarver, and I'm speaking for Indivisible Waves, which we are the local chapter of the National Indivisible. So thank you for including the Alsi on today's agenda and for the work you've already done to look into it. Your public statement noting that you spoke with the representative of Alsi was encouraging. As you know, multiple sources up and down the coast have indicated that they've been approached as part of this federal contracting search. So I'm wondering if you got any idea from Alsi about any assurance about what they're going to decide or anything? No. Okay. So obviously they don't have a contract yet. Your rumor control page says that government must be neutral. Actually, it says government must be neutral. Respectfully, neutrality is not the same as fairness. Cities all along the coast have taken official stances to protect their communities from disruptive federal siting decisions. This is not taking sides, it's governing responsibly. Would be reassuring to hear from you today that Waldport will use, and other people have mentioned, every available tool, zoning, licensing, safety, overlays, policy, to keep ICE facilities or long-term placements out of our tourist districts and neighborhoods. Other cities have already taken this step. Waldport deserves the same level of protection. We appreciate your attention to this issue and your willingness to lead. Many of us are here today because we care deeply about our town and want to support you in taking a clear, forward-looking position. And just personally, I've worked with many, many undocumented people. And the kids I worked with were probably the most intelligent and the most hardworking of all the students I worked with in 20 years.
My name is Nathaniel Brown. I ended up here on the coast in 2020 during the global pandemic and quickly realized this was a place I wanted to be for the rest of my life. We recently bought a home in Waldport and it will be our forever home. I had some other things I needed to say and wanted to say, but all I have to say is thank you to everyone that is here and that isn't here, but wanted to be and is ready to do anything necessary to encourage ICE to get the heck out of here. Thank you.
Next is Donna Hill.
I don't know which way to face. So I'm just going to talk really, really loud. My name is Donna Hill. I live in the Lost Creek Division, which is exactly halfway between Newport and Waldport. So I kind of don't belong anywhere, and I belong everywhere at the same time. And we've heard so many good comments and statements today, and I was called to speak to something just slightly different. I sometimes see people commenting, well, don't you support law and order when we're talking about not having ICE facilities? And ICE facilities are not operated in accordance with law and order. I want to talk about the concerns, the systemic abuses that happen in ICE detention facilities and what that would mean. That would be here if we let this happen. These abuses violate basic human rights, dignity, and the rule of law. Over the past months and years, multiple independent reports have documented widespread and severe abuses in ICE detention centers across the United States, including degrading and inhumane living conditions. There are a growing body of independent investigation reveals that many detainees are held in inhumane conditions, overcrowded cells, forced to sleep on freezing or sweltering concrete floors with no bedding, constant lighting 24 hours per day, inadequate food, lack of clean water, lack of basic hygiene access, and no privacy even when using the toilet. One toilet in a cell with 30 people with no privacy. This is according to Human Rights Watch and many other sources you could look up. Medical neglect and preventable deaths. Medical neglect is rampant. People with chronic illnesses or urgent needs have been denied medication, treatment, mental health care, and in some cases, this neglect has resulted in death. A review of 52 deaths from 2017 to 2021 found that 95% probably could have been prevented had the detainees received adequate medical and mental health care. This trend continues in 2025. That's from the ACLU, Health Law Policy Organization, Yale Global Health Review. Denial of basic rights and legal support. Many detainees lack private access to legal counsel or interpreters. They face arbitrary transfers. There's not a good system for tracking them. They're deprived of due process and being held in substandard conditions. This is, again, ACLU, Human Rights Watch. Abusive and degrading treatment by staff, including prolonged shackling, arbitrary solitary confinement, denial of gender-appropriate care, for example, women being held in men's facilities, denial of privacy, and physical and sexual abuse. So that's, again, ACLU and Amnesty International. Amnesty International just released comments on several of the ICE detention facilities. Systemic and structural failure. These are not isolated incidents. Rather, they represent a systemic structural failure within the detention system and an institutional framework that prioritizes mass detention over human rights, lacks independent oversight, and routinely violates national and international standards for humane treatment. This is Human Rights Watch and National Immigrant Justice Center. Under this administration, detaining a person is not a neutral administrative action. It is a serious deprivation of liberty. When that deprivation is conducted under conditions of neglect, cruelty, and systemic failure, it becomes a moral and legal injustice. If we allow an ICE facility on the Oregon coast, this is what we're inviting into our community. These facilities operate without local oversight. We need to reflect upon our values and act accordingly to block any ICE facility on the Oregon coast. I truly, from my heart, beseech all of you to do everything within your power to make sure that we do not have any ICE presence on the Oregon coast. Thank you.
Meet the Matthews. I think he's in the hallway.
I'm talking about ice. Is this going to be okay?
Sure. Yes, is that okay? I guess I should have. Is that okay? Public comment.
Okay, I'd like to ask the city council to ask the auditors to make a presentation to the city council and the city. I recommend you do it in January since you'll have all the equipment here for Jerry's presentation. And that should make it fairly simple for them to present a progress report as to what's going on in this community so we all know. Thank you.
Mary Cook.
Okay, good afternoon, Madam Mayor and councilors, and to our city manager, Dan Cutter, who finally gave us the most transparent update as far as I can tell. As you know, the rumors have been flying, spreading, and we all have been scurrying to finally get the truth. I moved here a short time ago, let's just say 9 or 10 months ago. My partner and I just bought a house in Bayshore Beach Club and community, and we also have a house for sale, and in so my concern is that property values, not only for us but for all of you, will decrease. And I mean, who in their right mind would want to live next to ice, right? Okay, not me, and apparently not any of you, or you would move here.
Carol Cassidy.
I don't have a prepared statement, but I do have ideas about ICE, and they start with their recruitment. And basically, they're saying, if you couldn't make it at the police academy, come to us and we'll give you $50,000 extra money. So they're like going after the dregs. Once these people become ICE people, they go around with masks so you can't even know who they are, and they act like a paramilitary force, but they have no training in paramilitary, and they have no regard for human life, it seems. And what they're doing is denying people due process and being horrible people, and that's who they want to be living in the Alsi Hotel. And so I just think that we cannot afford to have these people in our lives, not only real estate, which will tank because who wants those people around you know, and who knows what else they do on their spare time, because they're certainly not going to be reading books about volcanoes, you know, whatever. So I think that on every single level, we cannot afford to have ICE in our midst because they will just drag everything on all of them. And that's all I have.
Jerry Waldo?
You'll have all the information you need. I can't add anything to it. You don't understand it. Ask anybody else. So what I do have to say is how it affects us personally. I am strongly opposed to any and all ICE presence on the Oregon coast, in Lincoln County, and in the state of Oregon. I implore the Waldport City Council to publicly decline any potential special use permit connected to ICE housing and actively enforce zoning and code restrictions at the Alsi Resort or any other location chosen by this government program. Sadly, should ICE be allowed to house agents in Waldport, I will have to stop doing business or participating with the city out of fear for my safety and those in my community. I will encourage other family and friends to do the same if ICE has shown exceptionally risky behavior that may well be considered criminal in Oregon. They have no right to bring such fear to the community of Waldport. Mary and Jerry Wallace.
The next is Holly.
Don't do both, that's that. My name is Holly Romero. I live in Bayshore, and I'm also a Latina. I moved here 20 years ago from New Mexico, where we have a very different view of immigration. Or as my grandfather would tell us, we didn't move to this country moved to us. So I want to give you an idea of what it's like to be a Latino or Latina in this community right now. Because I have this face, I am not profiled, but I have spent the last 20 years traveling in and out of this country, and I am pulled out of line for extra inspection each and every time. And that is because of my name, what's on my passport, whatever. I work with nonprofits here in Lincoln County that serve the Latino community, and I can tell you from experience, working with people every day, that Latinos here are terrified. They're completely terrified. Whether they have this white face or not, it doesn't really matter because we know we are vulnerable. It is why I carry my passport with me at all times. It is why every Latino I know in Lincoln County is carrying their passport with them all the time because we know we are a target one way or another. I've spoken with my husband the other night when this rumor first came to pass, and I said, I don't know if ICE comes here, if they're in the Alsi Hotel, which is right across the street from where we live, right across 101. I can't live here. Like I can't live here. I can't be terrified every time I go to the grocery store. I can't be terrified every time I go to work. I can't be terrified every time I go outside or drive my car or get pulled over for speeding, which doesn't happen anymore. Does not happen anymore. I did at one time know of a state, but that's over. So I beg of you to help support this Latino community, and I can see that you all do. One thing, the last thing that I will add is I appreciate, and I have made these statements myself, I appreciate that people realize the labor that we bring to the community, whether it's fish processing or construction or salal pickers or the hospitality industry, restaurants and hotels. But I also want to say we are more than our labor. We are musicians, we are dancers, we are writers, we are poets, we are chefs. We bring so much culture and diversity to this country, to this state, to this county. And I know you appreciate that, even though this current regime does not. So please let us not remain neutral. Let us not just stand by, because of course neutrality is complicity, and we have a lot of beautiful people here to protect. So thank you.
Next on the list is Mike Sorensen.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak today. I am very nervous and stressed to be here, so I will try to be loud and clear. I just wanted to say that in this time when we have an administration that has floated the idea of denaturalizing U.S. citizens and has proven so hostile to our immigrant communities, I felt I had to come and speak up. My family moved to this country when I was 7. We lived here illegally until I was 13. And the day that I became a U.S. citizen over 2 decades ago was one of the best days of my life. I love the diversity and the inclusion of this country. And I love that I saw that reflected in the city and in the community of Waldport. I don't know who wrote Resolution 1328, but to me, it felt like you were reaching out and speaking to everyone here. I see, or I saw that openness and willing to accept diversity and inclusion as even part of like our city motto. We are where the forest meets the sea. We reflect the diversity and the splendor of the Oregon coast. This is a very sacred and special part of the country, and our diversity is part of that. And likewise, too, the diversity of our community and our people are interwoven in the fabric of this coastal community. It is part of the reason for why I came here, why my husband and I came here, why our family, why our friends come down here to visit us. We patronize local businesses. We pay taxes here. We are part of this community. And if you that are here on the city council are not able or willing to step up and say publicly that you value this community, you value the diversity that all people bring to it, then it is not something that I feel personally I can support anybody that will vote against that resolution 1328, which is taking a public stance and saying that agents that come in with masks and use the tools of fear and terror to tear apart our community are unwelcome. If you can't have the courage to say that, then I cannot have the courage to support anyone seeking re-election, be it city, state, or federal office. Thank you.
And then the last person on the list is Deborah.
Looks like I'm a cleanup batter. And I'm trying to shorten all these things of what hasn't been said yet. I have such hope being in this group of people and seeing all of the diversity of who's here and the similar values that we share and the willingness to stand up for them. So one of the things I want to say is that nobody has called out the issue of why are they doing this kind of distress to people of color in this country. Follow the goddamn money.
Yes.
And that is no reason to harm people. And it offends my soul. So that's taken care of. Coming into Lincoln County is a wake-up call that I didn't think I would have in my lifetime. And I am horrified by the thought of the lawlessness of these young people who are being hired into ICE and Border Patrol. All you have to do is watch what's happened in Chicago to know how they act, what their lawlessness looks like, and how deep their disregard for human life is. And I hope that that resonates with everybody who has a basis of some kind of value system. And I hope that you guys, as a group who is hired to look out for this community, will do everything that you can and stand up strongly. And the other piece is, I hope that we will start having coalitions forming. I've heard something about city managers talking to one another, and I think that's a very good idea. I think each community is going to need to support other communities when they start getting the gun pointed at them. And I don't know how that needs to happen, but I would encourage that to happen as you guys go forward. Pardon? Weekly community meetings? I don't know, maybe. But it's a part of that coming together that Willow and others have verbalized. So I guess that's my pitch. And if and when it comes down to being in the streets, I will see you there. I would also put in a plug for a program that I just finished through Pache e Bene, which is a group that teaches people nonviolent responses to things. We need to hold on to our value systems. We need to stand up in those ways and inform ourselves about how to do that. I'm not anywhere near ready to teach anybody else because I'm just learning it myself. But I see the value of it because it holds your ethics intact. It keeps you out of the squad cars for the most part. But doing direct action when it comes time to do something like that.
Okay, that closes public comment for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. We now move on to council discussion and action items. We're discussing information and the resolution that was offered at this council having discussion.
The only thing that I want to say is every person in this room.
You speak up, please.
I am trying to speak up. I want to thank you for coming. I mean, you're not all from Waldport, you're from South County. And if you know me at all, South County is what we are. It's who we belong to. Doesn't matter what house you live in for South County. And I appreciate you coming and talking to us. You know, this has been a trying thing since we found out about it, and we didn't find out until just recently, and it all started hitting us. I thank you for being here. I appreciate you doing what you're doing.
This is the most inspiring display of leadership I've ever seen. I congratulate you. There's so many people here who are articulate,
knowledgeable, and principled. That keeps us all together. So keep it up.
So is there a motion to approve resolution?
I know it was emailed to us, but I don't have it.
Yeah.
Can you read it what it is? So we
Sure.
can make sure that we're.
Make sure we're all. Sure, yeah. So resolution number 1328. A resolution making a statement about city concern in opposition to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE agency facility and activity within the city jurisdiction. Whereas the city of Waldport is committed to the diversity of cultures in which our country is based, and unrestricted support of all those with differing ideas and communities. Whereas the city council represents those cultures and the people of Waldport through the lawful application of the city charter and city municipal code to ensure fairness to all. Whereas the current direction and operation of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency has created a legitimate fear among people, many people, and represents a disregard of American values. Whereas the housing and actions of ICE personnel in the community will only exaggerate thank you, this divide among the community and create an atmosphere of tension, fear, and concern for all people. Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waldport, the city hereby opposes and objects to any immigration and customs facilities or housing within the city. The city will, in cooperation with legislative and municipal leaders at local, state, and federal levels, pursue every legal avenue to oppose any stationing of ICE personnel and activities. Finally, the city affirms its commitment to those words so elegantly placed on the base of Lady Liberty, so far away and yet so close. Give me you're tired and you're poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these the homeless tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. And that is resolution 1328. I am making a motion.
I'll second your motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that is a unanimous. Very powerful. And with that, is there any other council comments or concerns? Otherwise, if not,
I mean, yeah, it's council comments, 20th, we have the parade coming up, so if people coming out and celebrating that holiday season would be awesome. We also have the holiday food share, feel your thunder there.
Just for those neighbors in South County, you serve 256 families, 3 boxes of food, and all the Thanksgiving fixings for Thanksgiving. Presently, we have 274 families.
Wow.
Nothing to do with me, it has to do with South County.
You know, when this ICE issue came up, I have not discussed it with any of the members of the council. And the reason I didn't is I knew how we would stand on this. No question. We're with you, you're with us. We're going to get it done.
I just want to say, I'm the one who put the post on Facebook. I got a little bit of a backlash on that because it was a rumor. But I felt it was important that once I heard that we immediately as a city took action to try to find out if these rumors are true. Normally I'm not about putting a little rumor mill out there, but this was important to us. It's important to our community. When you guys, elect us, this is what you elect us for. It's for protecting our community, for the health and safety of our community. And I think we've come together. I think we've come together not only as a community, but as a county. I think all the cities up along the coast and our county commissioners, we're all on the same page. And, it's amazing that we have so many differences, but yet something like this brings it all together as one. And, we're one body. It doesn't matter if you're right, left, it doesn't matter. When things are important, I see we come together for the good of the community and for the good of the people. And I thank you guys for coming out tonight. It really means a lot to us.
Thank you.
All right. I just also want to just say that I'm very, very proud of this community, proud of the council, proud of city staff for reacting as quickly as they did. I like to think that this fight is over, but I believe really it's just started. So we need to let the Alsi Hotel know that we support them and not who they might sell to the hotel to. So with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting.